Hi, today we're going to be milling the strips. So first I have to build a router table, and all I have is a little trim router. It should do the job though. I've got the bits for it already. It's not going to be a fancy router table. It's probably not a video you want to copy for your router table, because this is going to be a one-time use, and then I'm going to dismantle it and toss the wood, because I'm using leftover plywood from the mold and strong back build. So it's going to be cheap wood. You know, if I was building a router table that I wanted to keep, I would definitely go out and buy some nicer plywood or MDF and build some cabinets and adjustable tracks and all that stuff. But we're not doing that for this, because I'm not taking it with me. The less stuff I have to pack into a big truck, the better. So I'm just going to do what I need to do, basically the bare minimum, to get these strips milled with the bead and cove edges, and then we move on. So in this video we'll be doing that. We'll be building a box and then using that box to route the edges of all these strips. So I've got, I think, 141 and a half strips that we got out of all that wood that I bought. I don't know if I want to glue the strips first and then route the edges, or route them while they're short and then glue them together, because I have to scarf joint every one of those strips, and I think it would be easier to route them first and then scarf joint the ends together. So we'll probably do that, but yeah, let's get to it. Where's your ball? Where's your ball? Did you lose it? Where'd he go? Oh, there it is. Good girl. Good girl. So this is the pile I have to work with. I'd rather not use the OSB. Just don't like working with that stuff. Got some small pieces of plywood here. Those might be a little too small. There's some bigger pieces. Let's see what's behind here. Oh yeah, there we go. So there's some bigger pieces of plywood there. So I've got plenty to work with. So I'm going to try to line this hole up as straight as I can. I can use these two holes as a reference with this line to get that straight, but I still need to get it just right. Since this hole is smaller than the MDF hole, just make it so that it looks like the edges are the same distance apart. And I can clean that up with the router bit itself once I put it through there. Our drill holes, and then we'll pre-drill and mount the router from underneath. All right, so I don't have a countersink which would make this a little bit easier. So what I'm gonna have to do, and I've done this before, is use a larger bit to get the bigger hole at the top so I can countersink those the screws that hold the router to the bottom of the board. And then I'll take a smaller bit and drill all the way through so that the screws fit through. All right, so I got it mounted on. Looks like it's pretty sturdy. And I also measured both sides of this bit to make sure that it wasn't at an angle. So I wanted to make sure it was level so that when I'm running those strips through, it doesn't cut at an angle, it cuts it straight flush with the strip length. So all looks good. Nice and level on both sides. Just barely. There's a little bit of overhang, but we can work with that. It doesn't have to go all the way across. Well, there's our two sides. I just need to rip the edges because they're obviously not straight. So I don't know if this is long enough. Let's get the long one. I gotta measure from the short side because that's not gonna work. So there's our three sides. Let's rip them up. Poor bandsaw's messed up. Well, bandsaw's fine. Needs a new blade. But for now, we'll have to use a jigsaw. Now when I bring this up to this groove, I don't want to hold it flat against the top, because you'll notice that that curve right there, if I come all the way as far as I can, it hits the bottom of that curve and the bit. And if I put the fence on that line, then that cove won't go all the way as deep as it's supposed to go on the strip. So what I want to do is kind of let it lift itself up a little bit and bring it in a little bit closer, right in the middle of that little concave piece right there. And that's where I want to draw my line. Well, she ain't pretty, but she works. Shot back cleans up nicely too. Put a little chamber back there for the hose, so keep it clean, keep the dust out, and we can work inside instead of being outside in the cold right now. So I'm gonna go take a lunch and put Addison to work. All the rounded edges done. Now we got to do the cove edges. Look at that. Good job. Was that fun? Mm-hmm. Your hand sore? All right, so the router table ended up turning out really nice. It did a much better job than I expected. We got all the strips milled bead and cove on each edge. And again, we've got cypress and Spanish cedar. The Spanish cedar is by far my favorite, so we'll probably end up using that towards the top just because that's what most people will see when it's in the water. So next week we'll be doing some scarf joints. We're not going to scarf joint all of the strips because we want to figure out the color scheme exactly, because we won't need a full length on every section of the canoe, so we don't want to glue all those pieces together unnecessarily. So we'll do a few scarf joints and then lay it out in the driveway and get a color pattern going and see what we like, and then we'll go from there. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Did you think I was gonna hit you?